Hello, guys. Today I have the huge honor of having with me Maryam. Maria and we are long-term effectuation students, researchers, entrepreneurs, and we decided to record this episode just to talk about the way we see entrepreneurship. I think there's a lot of buzz around it over the last decade. But I think it's worth having a deep take on some aspects that maybe is a little bit subtle. Maryam, what is an entrepreneur? What is entrepreneurship?
Yeah. For me, entrepreneurship has a big meaning because, I did entrepreneurship myself. I was an entrepreneur a long time back, you can say 10 years back. And after that, I studied entrepreneurship as well. Now, what was my, what I was hoping was that whatever I did was what I'll study as an entrepreneur in the entrepreneurship studies. And finally, when I was I did my PhD in the area of entrepreneurship. And when I was looking at various theories, I came across the theory of effectuation. Mm-hmm. And I thought that this is just, that time it was very fresh. I'm talking about 2015. And there were not much of, you can say scholarship from India. But then I thought that this is a new area and I want to go into it. Now, the more I was reading this theory, the more I could connect it to myself. I said, this is how I started actually, And I started that when I started as an entrepreneur, I started in such a way that I had a job in my hand, but I had a small baby to look at, to take care of. He was like 2.5 months. And I was not able to give enough time to my family. And for the job, I had to travel long distance from one place to the other. And I thought that, is it possible that I bring my, earning bread and butter closer to my home? Or should I move from this? Should I relocate? The relocation was not a possibility. So I thought that, what can I do? The very first thing which came to my mind is that, why should I not start earning on my own? Like, can I do something? I have certain capabilities. Can't I do something? Can't I start something on my own? The very first thing which came to my mind is that consultancy. But for consultancy, I needed, probably I was not very, into a kind of I was not a very consultant at that point in time. But then again, I thought, what are my means? The best means is that me, myself, my own capabilities.
Yes.
So the best capabilities that time was that I could cook very well. Mm-hmm. And I thought that I should start a catering business. Mm-hmm. And this thought came to my mind, and I spoke to my husband. He said that, yeah, I know a person just 2 streets away. And he does some kind of a marketing for people. He has some kind of contacts in offices, and these office people, I'm talking in Bangalore in India. These office people, they are very they're very inclined towards getting homemade food. Mm-hmm. And I got the phone number of that person, and I called him up. I said, can I just, do you know anybody who, and what kind of food are they asking for? And he said, yes, I can take you to an office. And he said see, when your business, when you get a business, when you get an invoice, when you get something sold, I will have 1% share. I said, okay, good. We will do that. You can take my business anywhere you want, and you can sell whatever. You just tell me what they want. I'll cook, I'll send it, and whatever sales we are doing, I'll give you this much percentage. Mm-hmm. And this is how it started. And when I look back, the slowly and gradually, when I was reading effectuation, the very first step is that you look at your own, you look at your means, who exactly. I am, what you know, and whom I know. And this is how it actually started. And then our network started expanding slowly. And this is what I see through the theory when I see at what I practiced already. It happened like this, like the network broadened. He brought another person to the table. He said, this is also a person whom we can contact, and he can do this, he can do that. Then I was looking for cooks. And then he brought me a third person. He said, this person needs a job, and you can employ him as a cook. And everything, like from the cook, I could get a place, I could get a big kitchen. And then from there, that cook also brought some more contacts, and he started telling me that these are the standards which the good companies are looking for. And then I was going by his standards. I said, okay, well and good, let's do that. And then we all self-selected in the process, and all of them had something to take out from the table, from what we were co-creating. See, the person who was selling for me had a 1% stake. I was seeing that my business was growing. I wanted to have a kind of a bread earning mode, which I was transferring from my full-time job into this particular business. I wanted this to be profitable. Now the cooks, one of the cook who joined me was that he wanted to have certain standard, he wanted to bring that my kitchen to a particular standard, because this was inside him, that I wanted to be that kind of cook, who would go to corporates and who would meet people. So he was trying to, meet that end through this particular, entire co-creation. So this entire journey was, when I look at this journey, it's beautiful, and it did not give stress to any of us that we were to meet that particular goal. We did not have any goal. The goal, the next day and the next step and the next thing kept on unfolding itself while we were moving ahead. It was a thing which we all could easily do. We were not stressing out on any of those things. So, and at one point in time, there were people who also, left us, because they whatever was their objective, that was not being met by our co-creation. I said, well and good, no problem. So, but we were wealthy we had earned experience.
Yes.
So that is what I wanted to share, and thank you very much for asking me this question.
Wonderful case. It's a truthful case, because it's your case. And yeah. Look how things unfold, right? Because I talk a lot about the metaverse and technology and how people relate. And then because we have such a noise, we're recording this in 2022, and the state of how people think that they have to raise millions of dollars before they get started. They have to have this amount of investors, this amount of this team, and look how you started. And I have a very similar story.
Yeah, Igor. And what I started with is that I had only some money which I had saved from my job. And when I approached my husband, he thought that he does not want to invest at that point in time, because of whatever reason, maybe he was not confident or whatever. So he had affordable loss, which was to a different extent, which is okay. I respect that. My affordable loss was that I was ready to invest all the earnings which I had saved from my job. So I invested that. And later, when he saw that my formula was becoming, more and more successful, and he was seeing some kind of, a reality to it, he self-selected himself again. Yes. With that kind of, and then he invested, and he gave a certain amount of funds, etc. And there were other people also who came to the table. They said they also want to fund my business. But then I wanted that, they should self-select themselves with more of their experience. That was my, inclination all the time. And they should come with kind of, that kind of affordable loss, not just the funds. Funds, we were thinking that the more we grow, the more we expand our business, we will generate funds. So funds was not the objective.
Yes. But the most important thing is this, right? You brought the business home in many ways, and whatever was making sense for you, because you had the baby.
Yeah.
Then you had something that had to connect to something that you deeply cared about, and then you knew, okay, consultancy, okay, could be, but then you related to something that you really and I don't like to use the word passion about, because I don't believe in passion. I believe in this inner knowledge that you know yourself in a way that I know that if I do this, you can even mix it up with other concepts, and eventually you created a business. It doesn't matter the size of the business. It doesn't matter how much money you made. It doesn't, but it made sense for you. And by making sense for you, it makes sense for the world, not the other way around. What I see a lot of entrepreneurs, and this is not a criticism, but what I see a lot of kids around and experienced people, professionals turning into entrepreneurs, they look, okay, what is happening in the world? Like the world is out there and I have to understand that. No. Okay, there will always be an opportunity. So in the financial markets, they say there is always a bubble happening somewhere. The thing is, what does make sense for you individually? Because we can always start universes by ourselves. Because if I would start a food business, I would start exactly like you do. But for example, in my case, I know how to make very good pizza. Because of my thing. I just like to do that. So I would start that.
Yeah.
And you and I, we could collaborate in our food business. But it doesn't mean that I have to follow your exact path. You follow my exact path, but we cross and then we converge and then you co-create. And eventually you and I could go to create 2 food trucks, and then we create a food truck park, and then we create the most successful, then we license this thing, and then all of a sudden we create a new industry around that, starting from who you are.
So that is what, like, this is an effectual cycle. Like first we start with the means, and then it leads to us to an affordable loss, and then there are certain contingencies which you have to keep on facing, and we have to react to them. So those contingencies which are coming from outside, they are the lemonade, as you already know the principle.
Which most people think is a bad thing, which is not a bad thing. A surprise, if you know how to, if you know how to incorporate in your business, is a blessing.
Yes, some of the lemonades are actually positive.
Exactly.
Some of the lemonades are negative. And there's the same thing which happened with me. I had started during my business, we had set up a food stall in one of the corporate, in one of the very, very renowned corporate centers.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a smallish, this corner. Then, and we were selling North Indian biryani. And these people, the other corner, they were selling the, full meal. And what happened is that one fine day I find that they're also selling biryani. Though the biryani order was given to us, but they were seeing that our food was selling a lot. And therefore, they wanted to sell the same thing to attract people. So what I thought is that, oh my God, what's happening? So I approached them and I said that, I was also thinking of going into this particular business, that is the meal business. But what we could agree on is that we will not, cross our paths, and that you do yours and we will do ours. We will do our biryani specifically, and I'm planning not to open up another stall for the, full meal. So, I mean, this is kind of a negotiation. There's an affordable loss for them as well, because the biryani section of theirs was not capturing too much of attention. So unnecessarily, they were putting in too much of effort over there. And I would unnecessarily put my effort into the, full meal, which was not my area.
Mm-hmm.
And we both, could understand each other. We negotiated, and, we moved further on. So this is kind of, I find that this is kind of a, though this is a contingency, but I have reacted to it in such a way that, I was able to negotiate. Had I not approached it in any way, let us say I would have left it status quo, then it would have harmed both of us. Exactly. I look at it in this way.
Yes. And there was flexibility from both ends. And eventually you kept focusing on what you do best. And this other person kept doing what he or her were doing best. And for the client, now and then we have this person called the client. It was the best of the world because he would have the best biryani available, the best meal available at the same place. You would be super happy doing the same. You could improve that by yourself. The other person could improve. So it is a converging upward cycle where like a full final product was just exist in the heads and of the customer, but the customer had choices, and these choices were made by entrepreneurs who also had choices. And people complicate sometimes this thing, especially when you look at technology. They think, oh, this is different. It's not different, but I think it's even simpler, to be honest. Because what you did, and I think this is the truth actually, what expert entrepreneurs do, they do not improve themselves in the sense of, no, I have to, but they improve the system that allows them to perform. So your affordable loss was very low. I mean, I can't see a way of you losing because, oh, I didn't make money. Okay, but you learn how to be an entrepreneur. I didn't sell. Okay, but you learn how to cook for more people. So eventually that experience, 5 years in a row, you could apply that to do software. So why are you doing software? Oh, because I know what does it mean to build a product by that person. But that has nothing to do with that. It does have a lot to do because it has to do with yourself as an entrepreneur. So you are in the process, you are creating a system of becoming a better entrepreneur. And then you separate what is the entrepreneur, Maryam, and what is the business this entrepreneur is doing. So if the business fails, the entrepreneur never fails, on the opposite.
That's correct. That is what you're saying. You know, in the literature also, it's written that, you know, the businesses fail, the entrepreneur does not fail, because the entrepreneur is always gained something out of the failure as well.
Yes,
he has gained more experience, which he can put to use to start another business.
Yes.
So that entire thing is, you know, coming along with him.
Yeah, and there is like people, and there is this mantra that people say, no, you have to embrace failure. No, there is. It's hard. It's not that a bad thing is a horrible thing, but you don't want that. But expert entrepreneurs embrace the fact that if that happened, like the guy was selling biryani, you didn't want that to happen, but you evolved as an entrepreneur by having that situation into your context. So you became an even better entrepreneur for having that contingency happen in front of you. You didn't ask for it. You didn't embrace that, but that made you a better entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people tend to deal with this now in this world of a lot of money around us. Okay, I just need more money. I just need more resources. And then my question is always, why you need more money? For what? What are you going to do with this? Well, are you creating value? This concept of value, like in the metaverse. I've been talking to a lot of entrepreneurs and big corporations want to do. I want to create this thing in this metaverse. My question is, why? Does that make sense for you? Are you creating value?
Yeah.
So what is the notion of value these days, Maryam? What is value creation in these days? What can we extract from the things that you and I talk a lot about to understand value in the 21st century? What is it?
Yeah.
Thinking about our kids. I don't know. You have sons, I have sons.
Yeah. So recently I am in the process of co-creating a book with Saraswati and the C group, that Society of Effectual Action. And I find, you know, we are actually we are creating a value in the form of, you know, teaching cases, what we will bring to the world. Let us say each of us knows certain case in certain form, but it is in our head. You know, it is in our head. I know the case. this happened with that person, and now I can see the transformation. That person transformed from level 1 to level 2. And I see that if someone else also sees the same thing, it can be applied in a larger context, in different contexts, by different people. So I bring that particular case to the table, and in the form of a teaching case. So this is valuable for many people. So the case, which is the end product, is not just a valuable thing, but the entire experience which we are gathering while we are co-creating the case is very valuable for me. So different value means different thing for, people. Like for example, a pen. If you say a pen is of 10 rupees, but what
Yes.
is the value you have in your mind? How much do
Right.
you value it?
Right.
For you, it is very valuable. For example, you're at the airport, you have to do a signature. Without writing that signature, you cannot board your flight. You are ready to pay a lot of money to get that pen if you do not have. Even if it's a $1 pen, you're ready to pay $50 for it. At that moment, the value is, that much.
What is the value of a cup of water in the middle of the desert?
Yeah.
But if everybody thinks that there is value everywhere, this is something that I struggle with, that if everything is, people see value in everything. And that, and we were talking about this many times before, the value of a professional. What is to be a professional? The value of a good meal. It doesn't mean that it's the most expensive. It is not the cheapest. But what is, a good thing when you see a good thing? You have this. There is some depth. There is some time for things to settle. There's this pause. The value of silence in a conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I feel that people are so distracted these days. I don't want to solve the world's problems, but how can you make sure that, okay, you have a case or you have something that you don't teach anyone, but people learn, how they can really extract this and improve without the distraction? I mean, it's kind of a utopian question. I don't know. How do you take this in a world full of distraction? How can people not be distracted and get this value?
See, there is I feel that, value is very person specific. Something which is valuable to me, which brings value to me, might not bring value to you. I value humanity more than, the amount of dollars you have in your bank. I value compassion. I value mannerisms more. I value, kind of warmth more than the amount of money which you might, be having in your account. But at the same time, it does not mean that the amount of money which you have, or the life, does not need money. Yes, it needs.
Yes.
It does need. But then I would say that then there needs to be a balance. Now I'm going in another direction. I'm not talking of value, but I'm saying that how people get distracted and the other, things which are related to life, is that we need to have a balance. We cannot say that only one thing is very important and the other is not.
Yes.
So we need to know that how much is sufficient for us. Maybe this much which is sufficient for me is not sufficient for the other person because of certain value systems or values that person has. You see? So that all, as I was, we are also working on something which called as a family business. And then Saras has, she has advised that we should also go through a book which is on how to grow kids, how to nurture them. So I'm very inquisitive to read that book, and I find that will be a great book. And the small little sections which we have discussed from there. But I find that a lot of value comes from your surroundings, from your family, from the place you're growing, from what you have seen around you and what you have imbibed.
And
that is something what I take
100% agree. And because there is this sense that everything is unlimited, and I was just taking a look. Like Netflix is going to produce this year more than 500 movies. I don't think I watched 500 movies in my entire life. But this year they're going to produce between movies and series, and not just movies, but movies. And this is just one platform. And if you have like 10 platforms and multiply that, this infinite amount of content that the human brain is not able to process. And then you have this constant feeling of this fear of missing out. And then the most important things, the ones that create value, are missed. Not because people want to miss, but because it's in the middle there. And when I see entrepreneurs chasing the next thing, and you mentioned the ultimate entrepreneurial experience, raise kids, and realize that it's less about teaching something specifically. It's more about observing. And there is this talent here. There is this interest here. Can I nurture that thing? Not the interest, but can I put a little bit more resources? Then it's like the effectuation process. It gets evolved. So it's more about the effectual process is not just about entrepreneurship. It's way more about how things evolve naturally. It's natural. That's why you're related so much, so directly with this. I did too. When I first saw this back in 2005, because it's natural, and everything that is natural, it grows. And if you see like the real entrepreneurs, like the people that maybe you don't even hear about it, they are like this. They are living naturally. They are not pursuing the next seed round, A round, which is okay. And that's what people get confused now. Are you against venture capital? No, I'm not against anything, but if that makes sense for your business, for yourself as a person, and you want to have that type of investor, fantastic. So if I asked Maryam back then, I said, Maryam, do you want to have 1,000 employees working for you, making biryani for all over India and exporting to the world? Probably, I don't know, but probably would say no. Does that make sense if another entrepreneur would say, come, I want to have 1,000 employees making biryani for the rest of the world? Okay, fantastic. So that's business A. That's business person A. And this is business Maryam.
Yeah. So for me, it was like going step by step. So that, even if I get a lot of investment and I, let us say, start, a very big business, and I'm not able to I haven't learned in the process. If I don't have a co-created people around me, I haven't created that environment, I do not have people to handle it, there's a possibility I might stumble. That was my fear, which was very innate, which was a very genuine fear. There was an opportunity where there was a hotel which was getting sold, and I had an opportunity to purchase it. I went there, I saw it, and I negotiated it also. But then I thought, no, I will not invest in it. First of all, I want to go step by step.
Yes.
I want to learn this business. Okay. I want to be a part of it. I offered them, I can be on a partnership basis. I can run this business with you. But then I will have my own affordable loss, which I'm bringing to the table. I cannot take the entire money as my affordable loss.
Yes.
I had certain limits to it.
And there's certain limits. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, certain limits, whatever I had earned, that is what I could only invest. Beyond that, I'm not going to go to any venture capitalist and bring the money, and then one fine day I find that I've lost it. I was not at all going to be bankrupt. I was not looking for that kind of a future. My affordable loss is what I have earned. That is what I can, bear it. Whatever I could bear, that is what I'm ready to invest.
And the affordable loss is not just financial, because affordable loss is also how you're going to deal with your family, the types of employees you're going to have, the types of investors you're going to have, because most people don't forget. I see a lot of entrepreneurs, oh, now I'm a kind of a slave. Of course you are a slave now, because you had this amount of investors. You're a slave for everything. You slave your mind.
At that point in time, I had a lot of mind space which I was putting to it.
Yes.
I had a lot of attention which I was giving to it. I had a lot of time which I was constantly giving to it. And I could not, there was not beyond certain limit which I could give to the business. So that was also kind of an affordable loss.
So your affordable loss is related to your mind, to this mind space. So this is the minimum. And what I see a lot of people burning out, because they say, no, I want the next one. I'm proud because I raised $50 million. And okay. But you're burning out. Why are you burning out? So there, and you go back to your original point, balance. What is the balance? And you're not, I don't want to be like, we're having like a guru type of teaching here, because it is not the idea, but the only truth is this personal balance that we can call affordable loss, that we can use now we can take an inspiration from the principles of effectuation in many ways to really run this thing in a very natural way. Because I think in the end, being an entrepreneur, I think humans are entrepreneurs. Honestly, I think we all have this potential of being entrepreneurs in a way that could be related to a business, could not be related to a business, doesn't matter. But the moment we innovate, we are at our best as humans when we create, when we innovate, when we do something that was not there, then it was not existent, and then it exists. For all the rest, you have machines, you now have technology, you have other systems. So you cannot be enslaved by technology. You enslave technology.
Right.
And I see so many people enslaved by the algorithms these days that they lose exactly what you said, that you lose their mental space and you get controlled by your mind, then it's over.
Yeah. But slowly the same thing happens, that when, like, if suppose I was in business for that long, because I sold my business after 4 years, I had to move to another country with my family. And I thought family comes first. Had I been, staying there, I would have, kept on working over there. Maybe the business might have grown. But when I see other people's business, it takes that same cycle. They start effectually, they co-create, and slowly and gradually, they have many people who are joining them, and then they can, from the effectual mode, they have to move to the causal mode as well.
Yes.
Because now they have to go on growing on the growth path.
Yes.
Up till
Which
now,
requires another set of decision makings, and then there is a complexity of the system they created. Yeah.
So when they go in the causal mode, that is when they think that, okay, we will go by setting up an objective, a goal, and then they chase it.
Yes.
Because if they do not do that, the business will not go to the growth path, which is very much needed. After a certain point in time.
At this point, you already, because the thing that you and I are talking a lot in the background is the question of uncertainty. So if we take that seminal book from Frank Knight back in 1921, 100 years ago, it was talking about the unknowable unknowns. That there are things that people think they know, that we associate uncertainty with risk. So risk is something that you calculate. Okay, the classical dice, I roll the dice and I know there's 1/6 of a probability to run it. But when you're starting a business, you don't know the distribution of that risk. There is no distribution at all. If I asked you back then, it was, okay, how many biryani portions are you going to sell a month? 10, 100, 1,000. The three answers are possible.
Yeah, we didn't even know for that day. We didn't even know for that day. We just had to do some wild calculation that, okay, yesterday it sold this much, let us do, okay, this much only.
Right,
and
right. But then what you're doing, exactly, and then exactly what expert entrepreneurs do in the end is that, okay, I don't know the things that I don't know, that are not even knowable, but I know what I can control. I can have 20 kilograms of rice here. That's what I can have. Okay, so you're already controlling the spectrum of the universe to this more controllable piece. That still doesn't tell you how much you're going to sell, but it's already you're cutting, you're slicing the uncertainty into smaller pieces that you can start to control. You're still not controlling 100%, but you're controlling this, taking the universe and say, no, my piece is here, and I'm going to effectuate around this piece. What I see that now, people, instead of going to the universe and getting a piece, and they want to get the universe all the time, and I want to do everything all the time, and you get lost, and you get this burning out, this sense of never getting there, and controlling the unknowable, and the uncertainty is all. That's what entrepreneurship is mainly all about, in many ways.
Yes, correct. So but when they are into one particular business for a very long time, and they have already known that's what these co-creators have co-created with them, and they're at a particular level, then with their experience only, they can they can predict a little bit.
Yes.
For example, as I'm telling you, that when we had sold for 2 months, that is how we could predict that, okay, on Fridays there's always a demand which is a little higher.
Yes.
On Tuesdays, there's always a demand which is a little lower. Okay, this is a holiday for them, so there'll be no need, or maybe there'll be very less need. So let's, not take our food today because it's a holiday. Or maybe there is a seminar going on, so let's take more. So because of that particular kind of a experience curve, we can do a little bit of prediction.
Yes, and then there's evolution. That's the moment where the causal mindset or framework starts to make sense, because you're starting to control a bit more the reality.
Yeah. So without this effectuation in the backdrop, and without following this effectuation curve, you cannot reach to that kind of predictability, possibility of predicting.
Yes.
So that is what I mean, that when I was able to follow this entire effectuation thing, that is when I could make a little bit of prediction. I could make a little bit of sense that, this is what happened with us.
Yes.
So let us do it in this particular way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Maryam, for us to kind of wrap up a bit, then we could have another round of this conversation in the future too. Would you give any advice for people that are getting started, how they could get it started?
Yeah, the very first advice which I would give is that just look at your means, who you are, what you know, and whom you know. That is the starting point. That is the starting point. Like your car is in the garage. You have to put the key to it, and you have to know. You have to see the very next step. You have to come out of the garage. Maybe there's an entire road for you to travel, but then first you have to come out of the garage. So to put the key into the ignition, and then to take out the car out of your garage, you have to look at your means, whom you are, what you know, and whom you know. Then you talk to people, and then you see that who is ready to co-create with you, who is ready to be a stakeholder, who is ready to contribute to your efforts. And then there is a possibility that your co-creation leads to an end which you had never thought about even. So I would say that go with the flow and be open to the experience. Also see that, you are also giving shape to it. It's not that you're being shaped by outside world and you are just a silent listener. No, you are also giving shape to it. You are the pilot in the plane. So you are giving shape to it. So don't lose hope. You have to you start like that, and then slowly look at your affordable loss. don't expand your losses by taking I don't know, if you have an affordable loss to an extent that you can afford to lose $100 dollars or $1,000, it's up to you. But it is you, and everyone's affordable loss will be different than the other person. For me, maybe it could be very less, for you it could be very high, or for me it could be vice versa. For me, I'm ready to lose maybe 1 hour per week. I could invest. It's not a loss. Like we say that it's an affordable loss. It's kind of an investment we are making. So it could be in any form. It could be mostly, I'm putting in time with you. This is the time which is available, and I can, just think of what we can do next. Then you should always be open to how the network is increasing, and how the goals are taking shape. So it will always expand your connection, and it will always, the next goal might be different than what you had thought a little before. And you are the person who are giving shape to it. Your stakeholders are giving shape to it. So it's a very beautiful journey. If we are open to it, then we will definitely reach to something good. And this entire experience makes us, this is a co-creating experience. And till the time you have experienced it, I cannot explain you that how beautiful it is,
It makes us more humans in many ways.
Yeah.
Maryam, thank you very much. On that note, let's wrap up here. But we can record another one soon.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Igor.